Hey Basic, I'm Jared Ruddy, the lead pastor of Elam Gospel Church, and welcome to Tuesday Talks. If you haven't already, click the subscribe button below, and I want to just take a couple minutes and talk about God's heart, His demeanor, His disposition, His character displayed to us through His Son Jesus Christ on the cross. So often we kind of jump into some conclusions very quickly when we look at the cross of Christ. We jump right to the end of the story. Jesus was killed, He was resurrected, and we move really quickly. And in doing so, we kind of make it a sequence-oriented thing where, you know, you're on this side, God's on this side, and Jesus is in the middle, and because He died, you can be made right with God. I don't disagree with that sort of thing whatsoever. I just simply think that sometimes we gloss over very quickly the context of what God's actually showing us, of who He is and what He's doing. One of the things that you see in the night in which Jesus is betrayed by Judas, he has this really interesting kind of illusion that you don't see on the surface of the text, but if you recognize the backdrop, it's pretty amazing. Where Jesus, as He's being taken captive by the Jewish Sanhedrin there, and they're taking Him into prison, He says this: "I could call 12 legions of angels down if I wanted to rescue me." What's kind of wild about that is that in the time in which Jesus was alive, you might remember from history class the Pax Romana. It's the Roman peace. It's some 400 years or so of this sense of peace. But anybody that was actually living in that day and age knew that there was no peace unless you were on the side of Rome. So Jesus, you see like multiple allusions as He's leading up to the cross where He says, "I could call 12 legions of angels." That's a Roman military term. And Jesus is saying that I'm coming to establish a kingdom, and my kingdom looks way different than Caesar's. That it's not built on violence, it's not built on force. I'm not coming to change hearts with the sword, but instead we see on the cross, Jesus changes hearts by taking the sword into Himself. And in the same way that Eve is taken out of the rib of Adam in the book of Genesis, the church is then taken out of the side of Jesus on the cross. That as His heart explodes literally and water and blood come out of His side, the church is born out of that flow. And that you and I then are called to be this nonviolent people that are expressing the heart and character of God in a very different way than the powers and principalities of this world. And what I mean by that is the systems and the structures of how to change people and how to make people look different or behave or act. Instead, as Christians, like Jesus, change comes not through violence, but actually surrendering ourselves, laying down our lives for people that may or may not ever love or accept. This is what the church does, that we are called to be this non-violent people that instead of trying to change forcefully, recognize that only God can change hearts. So wherever you're at today, I want to just encourage you to take some time, read the Beatitudes, and see that it's a totally different way of living. That this world offers a false peace, the Pax Romana, this Roman peace, and instead Jesus ushers in a new kingdom, a radically different way of living, and He describes that in the Beatitudes. Take some time, read it. Maybe actually go out of your house, not just on your phone, but take your Bible, go somewhere, read it, and look up at the people around you and ask the question, how do these Beatitudes shape me as a person and the way in which I am living out my Christian walk the rest of this week? Have a great one. Thanks so much.